Welcome to session 4 of free vibrations chapter. In this chapter, we have discussed in the previous classes on undamped free vibration. In this session covers the topics related to damped free vibrations. The meaning of damped free vibrations means that here a damper is introduced in the classical spring mass system. Let us first know about the introduction of it. In general, physical systems are associated with one or the other type of damping. In certain cases, the amount of damping may be small and in other cases large. When damped free vibrations takes place, the amplitude of vibration gradually becomes small and finally it is completely lost. The rate at which the amplitude decays depends upon the time and amount of damping in the system. But we are interested in this chapter regarding the frequency of damped oscillations and the rate of decay. It means that whenever a damping phenomena is occurring in a free vibration, the amplitude of vibration is going to die out after certain period of time, and the rate of this amplitude will depends upon the type and amount of damping in the system. Coming to the next topic, types of damping. The different types of damping in free vibrations are viscous damping, dry friction or Coulomb damping, solid or structural damping, slip or interfacial damping. Viscous damping is the one wherein the damping is associated with a viscous fluid. Dry friction or Coulomb damping is the one wherein there is no media as in viscous damping. So such a damping is called as dry friction or Coulomb damping. Solid or structural damping is the one which can be observed in metals, wherein the atoms and the interrelated atoms will try to collide with each other, and the damping associated with such type of atoms is called as solid or structural damping. The similar type of damping is called as slip or interfacial damping. In this chapter, we shall discuss about the differential equation of damped free vibration by viscous damping method. We shall consider a classical spring mass damper system as shown in figure below. The figure shows that before attaching the mass to the spring is in its initial position, but once the mass is attached, the displacement caused in the spring from the initial position is taken as delta. Now, after attaching the mass, let this the mean position of the mass. When the body is displaced by a distance x, then the total displacement of the spring will be delta plus x, and the new position of the mass will be this as shown in the dotted line. So therefore, this line is taken as the mean position after time t. For the figure, the free body diagram can be written as shown beside. The mass m is represented by 3 arrows, so wherein the spring force is represented as k into x, and the acceleration of the body which is caused due to the displacement x is in the downward direction, So therefore the inertia force will be x double dot in the upward direction. So therefore mx double dot in the upward direction. The other force is Cx dot, that is, here is a damper which is represented by a spring, a piston and cylinder arrangement with the viscous fluid inside, and it is called as a dashpot, and the convention followed to represent it is C. Now the damper opposes the resistance of the motion of the body in the downward direction, so therefore it is Cx dot in the upward direction. The differential equation of this system can be solved as discussed below. The body has at this instant a velocity x dot in the downward direction. That is, when the body is displaced by a displacement of x, the velocity is represented as x dot in the downward direction. Since damper opposes it, so therefore we write it as Cx dot in the upward direction. And we all know that the acceleration is x double dot in the downward direction. So that is the direction of the positive x dot. The external forces acting on the body at this instant are, the forces that are acting on the body are the spring force Kx acting in the upward direction, the damping force Cx dot acting in the upward direction. Therefore, we can write from Newton's second law of motion that mx double dot is equals to minus Cx dot minus Kx. Since these two terms are negative, we will try to take the terms towards the left hand side. So therefore mx double dot plus Cx dot plus Kx is equals to 0. So therefore this is the equation we obtain after analyzing the forces. And let us call this as equation number 1. This is the fundamental differential equation of motion, that is mx double dot plus Cx dot plus Kx is the fundamental differential equation of motion for a single degree of freedom system which is having damped free vibrations. The above equation represented in equation 1 can be further written in a simplified form as x double dot plus c by m into x dot plus k by m into x is equals to 0. This equation is obtained when the whole equation is divided by m. Now, we shall further proceed using this standard equation to find out the critical damping coefficient. So, to determine the critical damping coefficient, we assume the solution is of the form x equals to e to the power of alpha t. Let us assume that the solution will be of the form x is equals to e to the power of alpha t. Here e represents base, that is 2.718, alpha is a constant and t is the time. Now this equation can be represented as 1, and when we differentiate this equation 1 with respect to time t, we have x dot is equals to alpha e to the power of alpha t and x double dot is equal to alpha square e to the power of alpha t. Now, in the previous slide, we have seen the equation of the single degree of freedom, that is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equals to 0. In this standard equation, we will substitute the value of x dot and x double dot. Later, we obtain the equation as m alpha square e to the power of alpha t plus c alpha e to the power of alpha t plus k e to the power of alpha t is equals to 0. In all these three terms, we find that e to the power of alpha t is a common. So taking e to the power of alpha t as a common, we get the equation as m alpha square plus c alpha plus k into e to the power of alpha t outside the bracket is equals to 0. Now this equation can also be written as m alpha square plus c alpha plus k is equals to 0, or alpha square plus c by m alpha plus k by m is equals to 0. This equation is represented as equation number 2. Now the solution of the above equation 2 will be alpha is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So in this equation, substituting the value of a, b and c, we get alpha is equals to minus c by m plus or minus square root of c by m whole square minus 4 into k by m divided by 2 into 1. After simplification, we get alpha is equals to 1 by 2 minus c by m plus c by m whole square minus 4 into k by m. These are the two roots. So therefore alpha 1 and alpha 2 can be written individually as alpha 1 is equals to minus c by 2m plus square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m. Here alpha 2 is also having the same value but with a negative sign. So therefore minus c by 2m minus under the root square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m. Let us call this as equation number 3. The solution of alpha 1 and alpha 2 will always take the form b square minus 4ac. So therefore, what is the value of b square minus 4ac? It is nothing but c by 2m whole square minus k by m is equals to 0. This equation can be also written as c by 2m whole square is equals to k by m, or c by 2m is equals to square root of k by m, where under the root k by m this terminology is nothing but omega n. So therefore critical damping coefficient is nothing but c into cc is equals to 2m omega n. The above equation we have c by 2m is equals to omega n. So this equation is written here. So here c is nothing but the damping coefficient. So therefore critical damping coefficient will be represented as c suffix c is equals to 2m into omega n. So we call this as equation number 4. Or using this equation we can also write the equation for critical damping coefficient as cc is equals to 2m and omega n is nothing but square root of k by m. Both the equations hold good for calculating critical damping coefficient. Now using critical damping coefficient we can find out the another term called as the damping factor. The damping factor zeta, this is the for numerical term. The damping factor can be represented as zeta, this term, or the damping ratio. It is also called as damping ratio. Sometimes is defined as the ratio of damping coefficient to critical damping coefficient. That is zeta is equals to ratio of damping coefficient is c and critical damping coefficient is cc. So therefore here c represents damping coefficient, cc represents critical damping coefficient. Let us call this as equation number 5. Now the above equation, that is zeta is equals to c by cc. Here in the previous slide we have the value of zeta as c by cc. Using this we can find out the solution. So we have alpha is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac. So the equation we can substitute the value of k by m and c by 2m. If we simplify this equation, we can write this as minus c by cc into omega n. That is cc is equals to 2m omega n, as we all know, and we can write this as, instead of 2m, we can write it as 2m is nothing but cc by omega n. So therefore cc by omega n, if it is written, the omega n goes to the numerator. So therefore omega n by cc plus square root of c by 2m is again but nothing but c by cc into omega n whole square, minus, we all know that k by m is nothing but omega n square. So therefore this equation can further be written as c by cc, which is nothing but damping ratio, that is zeta, into omega n plus or minus the square root of, this term is nothing but again minus zeta omega n, and this is omega n. In both the terms we have omega n square constant. So since it is under the root, we can take out omega n outside and write as omega n under the root zeta square minus 1. Here this equation can be observed carefully that in both the terms we have omega n again common. So therefore for this simplification, the equation will be written as minus zeta plus or minus square root of zeta square minus 1 under the square bracket, and omega n is taken as a common factor. This is the root of alpha 1 and 2. So therefore splitting the two terms, the roots are alpha 1 and alpha 2 as alpha 1 is equals to minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n. Alpha 2 will be minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n. The solution of this will be of the form x equals to a1 e to the power of alpha 1t plus a2 e to the power of alpha 2t. Here, substituting the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2 in the above equation, we get the equation 6. Here alpha 1 is and alpha 2 as obtained are substituted. Let us call this as equation number 6. Depending upon whether zeta is greater or equal or less, three conditions may be obtained. In this case, the zeta values may be real or equal or complex conjugate. If zeta is greater than 1, the roots are real and negative, and the damping is known as overdamping. If zeta is equals to 1, the roots are real and equal, and the damping is known as critical damping. If zeta is less than 1, the roots are imaginary and complex conjugates, and the damping is known as underdamping. Now we shall discuss all these conditions one by one. Overdamped system. What is an overdamped system? The system which in the zeta value is greater than 1 is called as overdamped system. In this system, the damping is comparatively large and the two values of both the roots are real and negative. The motion will be aperiodic in nature, that is, it is not in a periodic form. In this case, the value of x will be of the form a1 e to the power of minus zeta plus under the root zeta square minus 1 into omega n t. plus a2 e to the power of minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n t. The values of those constants a1 and a2 can be obtained from initial conditions. We know that when time t is 0, that is when t is equals to 0, then the displacement x will also be x naught and velocity will also be v naught. That means no displacement and no velocity. Therefore, x of 0 is equals to x naught, which is nothing but a1 plus a2. We can just look at the equation here, that when the value of e to the power of this one, when t becomes 0, e to the power of 0 becomes 1, even here also. So therefore x is equals to a1 plus a2. So we get x equals to a1 plus a2. Since x is equals to x naught, so therefore x naught is equals to a1 plus a2. Let us call this as equation number 1. Now, if we differentiate the above equation, we get x naught dot is equals to a1 minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n plus a2 minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n, where x dot represents the velocity. Since it is x naught dot, so therefore velocity is represented as v naught. In this equation, the value of the displacement x will go on decreasing with respect to time, and the system will be non-vibratory in nature. This is about the overdamped system. Now coming to the next type, that is critically damped system. In this system, zeta will be always equals to 1 and the roots are real and equal. In this case, the damped frequency will be 0. The frequency of the damped vibration will always be 0 and the motion will be also aperiodic. It will be aperiodic, and the roots of this type of system will be alpha 1 is equals to minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n and minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n. Here, in both the cases, the value of alpha 1 and alpha 2 will be equals to minus omega n. Let us call this as equation number 1. The solution of that equation will be of the form x is equals to a1 e to the power of alpha 1 t plus a2 into t e to the power of alpha 2 t. Here, since we got that alpha 1 and alpha 2 as minus omega n, so therefore if we substitute, we get a1 e to the power of minus omega n t plus a2 e to the power of a2 into t into e to the power of minus omega n into t. Here both e to the power of alpha minus omega n in both the term is a common term, so therefore we can take it outside. So e to the power of minus omega n into t is taken as a common term, so therefore a1 plus a2 into t inside the square bracket and e to the power of minus omega n t is a common. Let us call this as equation number 2. Now the values of these constants a1 and a2 are determined from the initial condition. As discussed previously, when time t is equals to 0, the displacement x will be equals to x naught, and velocity x dot will be is nothing but v naught when it is 0. So from the first condition, that is from the displacement, that is x naught, we get the value of a1, that is x naught is equals to a1. Here when we substitute t as 0, of course we get x naught as a1. So therefore x naught will be equals to a1. Using this we can find out the value of a2 also. Here differentiating this equation, we get the value of velocity, that is x dot is equals to a1 plus a2 into t e to the power of minus omega n t. It is differentiated, so therefore minus omega n e to the power of minus omega n t, plus again differentiating the second term, it is a2 e to the power of minus omega n t. So simplifying, we can get the equation as a2 e to the power of minus omega n t minus a1 plus a2 t omega n e to the power of minus omega n t. Since t is 0, when x naught is equals to a1 and v naught is equals to 0, which is nothing but x naught dot, using the above three initial conditions, substituting in the above equation, we get x naught dot is equals to v naught dot, which is equals to a2 minus x naught omega n. Here in the above equation, if we substitute the values of a1 and we obtain the velocity equation in which a2 minus x naught omega n is equals to 0. It is as good as writing a2 is equals to x naught omega n. Now we have obtained the value of a2 and a1. So therefore substituting the values of a2 and a1 in equation 2, x is equals to x naught, that is a1, plus a2 is x naught omega n into t e to the power of minus omega n t, which is written in a simplified form as x naught into bracket 1 plus omega n t e to the power of minus omega n t. If suppose v naught is not equals to 0, then a2 is equals to v naught plus x naught omega n. Therefore we get x as equals to x naught plus v naught plus x naught omega n into t e to the power of minus omega n t. Now we shall move to some of the multiple choice questions on the topics we discussed now. Here is the first question. The first question is, which of the following statements is true for Coulomb damping? So based on the types of damping, we discussed that there are 4 types of damping: viscous damping, dry friction or Coulomb damping, interfacial, slip or interfacial damping, and structural damping. Since the options given are here, Coulomb damping occurs due to friction between two lubricated surfaces. Damping force is opposite to the direction of motion of vibrating body. For smooth surfaces, coefficient of friction depends upon velocity, and damping force depends upon the rubbing velocity between two rubbing surfaces. As we all know that, as discussed in the class, Coulomb damping occurs for smooth surfaces. It is also called as dry friction. So here the coefficient of friction will always depend upon the velocity. So therefore the right option will be option C. So therefore the correct answer will be answer C. Next, the second question. In which of the following cases underdamping occurs. Underdamping occurs when the roots are complex conjugate. So, we have discussed today regarding overdamped and critical damped condition. And in underdamping condition, the zeta value will be less than 1 and the roots are complex conjugate. So, therefore, the right answer will be answer B, roots are complex conjugate. Whereas, the other options cannot be taken as the right answer. So, the right answer will be answer B. Now, the third multiple choice question is, in which type of vibrations amplitude of vibration goes on decreasing every cycle? The options given are damped vibrations, undamped vibrations, both damped and undamped vibrations, and D, none of the above. Since a damper is introduced to act as a system which will oppose the vibration, so therefore the amplitude of vibrations will go on decreasing. So the right answer will be damped vibration, in which the amplitude of vibration will go on decreasing every cycle. Here damper acts as a resistance to the vibration of the body. Hence vibration is going to reduce and the amplitude of vibration goes on decreasing for every cycle. The right answer will be option A. Fourth MCQ is on the damping is known as critical damping when. So based on the conditions given, we know that when zeta is equals to 1, the condition of damping is called as critical damping. If zeta is greater than 1, it is called as overdamped condition. If zeta is less than 1, it is called as underdamped condition, and zeta is equals to 1 is for critical damping condition. There is no such condition as zeta is equals to 0. So therefore the right answer will be answer C, that is zeta is equals to 1. With this we come to the end of this session. Thank you.